The doors of your car will close automatically. Please keep your head and arms inside and remain seated at all times. And please, no smoking. Thank you.
Matterhorn Matt presents Matterhorn Mondays.
Hey there. Oh, my voice cracked. I'm gonna leave that in. Hey there, Mountaineers. Welcome to episode 49 of Matterhorn Mondays. I'm your host, Matterhorn Matt.
And I'm Alex, the historian.
And today we are joined by Mr. Jeremy Harris. Yeah, that voice crack was awful. Holy cow. Jeremy, the writer of Historyland. You've probably seen him, or not seen him. You probably heard his voice not cracking in the Commentary Land series that we started. Jeremy, for those viewers who have not seen Commentary Land, why don't you go ahead and explain what you do, sort of who you are, how you came about to find my channel, and how you ended up writing my scripts.
Well, I guess I'm basically the man behind the curtain in a way. I write the scripts to the episodes, and anything that is basically all the narration, and then Matt kind of takes that and discovers the visual landscape of the episode, if that's the best way to put it. So it's very collaborative, even though it might seem I write it all. But how I found the channel, I think I just kind of stumbled upon it one late night, and back in, I don't know, March or April or something. And normally, I was like having difficulty finding one of these types of channels that really I found very effective. I'm like, okay, they're saying stuff I already know, and it's mostly just focused on the personality of the channel. But this one just totally engrossed me. I was like, oh, there's actually like a story that is trying to be told, and it's being told in a visually compelling way. And so I was like, all right, I like this channel. I'm going to become a patron. And I was like, let's go full out. And I donated $15 or something. And became a part of the Discord and was kind of really active on there, sharing my thoughts about Disney. And Nick, who was the previous writer, was like, do you want to write some episodes? And Matt agreed, and now I'm kind of the captain of that ship, I guess, for lack of a better phrase. But yeah, that's why I'm here anyway.
Amazing. Jeremy does amazing stuff, as you all have probably most likely seen if you watch Historyland, which is probably the only reason you come to my channel. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into this week's episode. And like I said, very eventful. Possibly, I say that every week. Sometimes it's eventful, sometimes it's not. I do want to say right before we start the stream, next week, the 18th, I believe. Let me double check. Yes, next Saturday, the 18th, at 11 o'clock a.m. Mountain Standard Time, we will be having our second ever Disney Jeopardy round with special guests Jack from DSNY Newscast, Chris from LMG Vids, and Rob from Rob Plays. They will all be contestants on this amazing, hopefully amazing Jeopardy game. Alex is writing the questions, so hopefully it will turn out way better than the last episode. I don't remember if you guys remember the last Jeopardy episode. It was a disaster. I don't remember much from it, but yeah, next week, Saturday the 18th at 11 o'clock a.m. MST is when that will be hosted. So be sure to check out my channel then. Check out all three of their channels as well. They all have amazing content. I'm sure you're all subscribed to them already, but yeah, let's go ahead and get into. Matt made a coleslaw joke. Salmon, that coleslaw joke. All right, let's get into this week in Disney news. First bit of news, Tron Light Cycle attraction in the Magic Kingdom is to begin construction in late 2018. Disney Parks blog put out an article, and all the links to all the articles we're talking about will be down in the description below. Let's see, Disney Parks blog says that the Main Street, or the Walt Disney World Railroad, will stop its Grand Circle Tour around the Magic Kingdom in December 2018, and the Tomorrowland Speedway will close in 2019 to make way for the new Tron Light Cycle attraction. Very excited. I wish something like this would come to Disneyland, but we'll see. Maybe, hopefully one day, hopefully one day something like that will come. But second bit of Disney news, Disney says that they plan to release all completed Fox films after the Fox purchase is completed. Let's see. Like I said, links to all the articles I'm reading from are in the description down below. Disney, quote from a comic book. What is this website? CBR. CBR.com. I don't know what that stands for. Quote, Disney has every intention to release every Fox film completed or in production at the time of the acquisition. The newspaper's sources contend that Disney will likely take over Avatar and X-Men, Fox's biggest franchises, and scale back production on those pricier features that don't fit into the entertainment giant family and franchise-friendly formula. So, comic book reader, says Bryce. That's what it stands for. Thank you. But yeah, Disney, I guess this is just Disney saying that there's nothing to be worried about if you're a big fan of X-Men, the new Dark Phoenix movie, or whatever it's called that's coming out. It will be, allegedly, this is all alleged. I don't know if I trust this website very much. But allegedly, Disney is going to release all of the, like I said, all of the completed or in production films at the time of the acquisition. So, like I said, the new X-Men movie. I think there's a X-Men, Dark X-Men, Mutant something, I don't know, some other X-Men movie. Those allegedly will be released. And moving on to our final bit of Disney news. New details on Disney's streaming service has been revealed. Big thanks to dsminewscast.com for providing this article. Definitely check out, like I said, check out all the articles down in the description, especially DSMI Newscast. Let's see, quote from his article. Our first priority is going to be reaching our core Disney fan. We want to walk before we run when it comes to the volume of content, but we have to put enough on it to make sense from a price to value relationship with perspective. So basically this article outlines how it's allegedly going to be cheaper than Netflix, and that there's not going to be, like I say, allegedly there's not going to be a lot of content on it. No Star Wars, like we mentioned last week. Disney does not have the distribution rights to the original Star Wars movie, so they will not be able to put those on the streaming service, but new theatrical releases like the live-action Dumbo, Captain Marvel, and the new Avengers movie will be on the streaming service. So if you guys are fans of the live-action Dumbo movie or all the Marvel movies, I'm pretty sure all the Marvel movies are going to be on the streaming service. And there's also going to be lots of original movies and TV series, like, quote, a remake of Lady and the Tramp. I don't know how well that's gonna go. Original television series is drawn on pre-existing Disney properties such as Monsters, Inc. and High School Musical. The hope is that major Disney brands such as Pixar, Marvel, and Lucasfilm, as well as Nat Geo, will all contribute content to the service. So, yeah, take with that what you will. But that's the end of this week in Disney news. I guess that's what I'm going to end up calling it. This week in Disney news. And before we get into any of the actual topics, I would like to showcase RetroWDW. I don't know if you guys have heard of their website. Really amazing website. They have recently restored a film, Project Florida. Before there was only a very terrible VHS transfer copy of the film. But they have, I believe they bid on eBay to get the actual 16mm film and fully restored it. It's really amazing what these people have done for the Disney community when it comes to this. And I'm just going to play just a very short snippet. Okay, so that's that for that. That's it for that. I'm sure if you guys go online on YouTube, you can find comparisons of the original VHS transfer. I think I watched one of it the other day. But yeah, big shout out to RetroWDW. Link is in the description, like I said. This is really crazy what they've done. I wouldn't know the first place to start when it comes to restoring like footage like this, but big props to them. Yeah, like I said, be sure to check them out in the description. Bryce says that was the shortest snippet ever. Yeah, I don't want them to...
Yeah, I was going to say that too.
I don't want them to copyright strike my channel, but it does have their logo. But yeah, anything you guys would like to say about any of the Disney news that we ran down, any of the streaming service or any of that? I'll take that as a no. Okay, now for realsies, let's get into this week's topics. We don't have actual topics this week, I don't believe. Not like another voice crack. Whew! Not like the topics you guys are used to. This week we're going to be sort of running down, I guess, sort of our thoughts on modern Disney films, animated films, live-action films, and then we're going to sort of segue into our thoughts on the future of the Disney parks as a whole. We did this a couple weeks ago with LMG Vids, but this time we have Jeremy with us, so hopefully it will be even better than when we did it with LMG Vids. But starting off this segment, I want to play a short clip from the new Wreck-It Ralph trailer, and I feel like this clip really embodies everything that we're going to be talking about, all of the feelings that I have inside of me when it comes to modern Disney movies. Let's play the clip. Okay, so if you guys couldn't tell what was wrong with that clip, it's basically, I don't know how I feel about Wreck-It Ralph 2. The first one I felt like was a good movie, but the second, it feels like, oh, you guys couldn't hear it. That's okay. I will play it again for you guys then. That is okay. Here we go. There we go.
I gave my mammy a cake, she turned into a big bear. My Alden tried to dare in. If that's not a pure mess, I don't know what is.
We can't understand her. She's from the other studio.
Ralph breaks.
It's so meta. She's from the other studio, says, I think, Anna to Vanellope. It's just all so meta. I don't know what to think about this. Like I said, Wreck-It Ralph 1 was a great movie, but this one, they seem to be taking it in, like, yeah, Sketchagon says emoji movie vibes. I'm getting the same sort of vibes from these trailers as well. But it's just, I don't really know how to express my feelings. It's just all so meta, and I don't think it works as well when Disney does it, especially the way they're doing it in this trailer. But let's start off with Alex. Alex, what are your thoughts on the new Wreck-It Ralph, Ralph Breaks the Internet movie, and especially the clip that I played when Anna says to Vanellope that Merida's from the other studio?
Oh, I didn't get to hear it, but the movie doesn't really what's the word? Doesn't interest me. It's not something I would go see. The first movie didn't interest me. I didn't go see it. So, but I mean, you know, a lot of people would say that I'm kind of pessimistic when it comes to movies and stuff. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I understand. Someone, Sketchagon said too much product placement feels not genuine. I feel the same. Jeremy, what about you?
It's lazy. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, there's meta and then there's meta, and this is meta. This is like it's that's not even the right word for it. It's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just, I don't know who they think they're appealing to with that. It just feels like a cheap laugh to me, and that's just entirely un-Disney. Because, you know, it's not that Disney hasn't, but like Fantasia is meta, yeah, because it makes the audience think about animation as a form, and it's a comment on animation and music. But that's the right kind of meta that you want to achieve. This is just, oh, isn't it funny that they're all in the same room and they know their like movie? But you know, at the same time, I mean, back with the cartoons, I mean, the cartoon characters were always aware. They were stars that were in the cartoons somehow. But this is stupid. This is just the intention reads very well that it's market tested and it's just, it's the emoji movie. It's Disney's emoji movie. It's because Disney is just that's the way they think. Now, you know.
Yeah, Jill said they're at Oh My Disney though. Yeah. Oh My Disney. If you guys don't know what Oh My Disney is, I think it's an app. They also have a Twitter account. It's basically Disney's trying to be relevant with the teen internet sort of generation, all those millennials. That's what Oh My Disney is. They make jokes like the ones that you've seen in the movie. And even in the trailer, you see Elsa wearing a shirt, or I guess like a sweater, that says, just let it go, or something like that. Something corny like that. And I'm pretty sure Ariel's shirt says leg day or something. It's like those tacky Etsy shirts that Disney's now selling. You guys know what I'm talking about. Like the turkey leg ones, or like I Live in Fantasyland. All those kinds of like cheap, lazy, I don't really know like the right word for this. Cheap, lazy merchandise.
Contrived, forced, trying to be relevant with a generation of people, and it actually just comes off as, I think, just condescending. Totally condescending.
Yeah, we need to like coin a word or coin a term for this like kind of merchandise that Disney has. I just call it like the Etsy merchandise, because bootleg, says Bryce. That's a good word, but I call it Etsy merchandise because it's sort of like the merchandise that you see like those people who take pictures in front of the walls, like the bubblegum wall or the Tomorrowland wall or like the blue wall. I don't know what they're called. Like marketed to people like that. Like not basic, says Shaden. That's a good basic girls who take Disney wall pictures, says Shaden. That's a good way to describe it. But yeah, that's basically what we're trying to get at. It just doesn't sit well with me. Especially in a Disney movie. Like, this is sort of like this in the same vein of how they of the pre-show video of the Incredicoaster, when a Violet says, why put our name on like a tacky roller coaster? I don't remember the exact quotes. And again, like how we mentioned a couple weeks ago, how in Mission Breakout, when Rocket says that Disneyland is thematically inconsistent, it's like tongue-in-cheek, hey, he is aware that Disneyland is thematically inconsistent, but it's like, it's funny, but it's not funny. I can't find the right words to say it. Someone said in chat that it might be so good it's bad. I don't think it's going to be a terrible movie. I'm sure it'll be a good movie, a decent movie at least, especially to all the people who it's trying to appeal to with this kind of stuff. Pandering, says Kenton. That's another good word. But yeah, so that's that. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter, I guess, like fangirling over the princesses scene in general, because it's like, oh, all my favorite princesses are in the same room together. But I don't know how to explain it. But yeah, so that's that. And I don't know why this isn't going in order. Oh, here we go. Did you guys know they're making a live-action Kim Possible movie? I said this a couple weeks ago, but I want to play the trailer for you guys. The live-action Disney Channel movie, Kim Possible. I might get copyrighted for this, but it's completely worth it because this is one of my favorite things that I've ever seen, ironically. But I'm going to play this for you guys.
So what's the sitch?
Okay, that's basically it. This sort of goes along with what we were talking about. It's so weird nowadays. Disney nowadays, when it comes to movies, it seems like all they're doing is just rebooting old nostalgic TV shows and movies. Like who wants to see a live-action Kim Possible movie? I'm sure it's going to be bad, like all the other Disney Channel movies. But I feel like Kim Possible is really, like, stretching it. Like, Kim Possible was a really, to my knowledge, it's a really beloved Disney Channel TV show that a lot of people really enjoyed. I never really watched it personally, but it's just doesn't make sense to me. Why are they pulling from their old library of movies and TV shows? I mean, Kim Possible. No one said the words Kim Possible in like 20 years, and now for some reason Disney wants to reboot it for the new generation of kids. Like, just rerun the old series. You don't have to reboot it into a movie. It's gonna be terrible. But yeah, that sigh is really.
You know
all
what
I have
it
to
is?
say.
It's them, I think, misreading information. I think they see in their numbers and their charts, and because that's all they care about, is that people like the good stuff of quality of Disney. They like all of the animated films that are now being remade. Disney's processing that information as, oh, that means they want more of that specific thing. So let's keep rebooting and rebooting and rebooting and passing it off as it's being redone for new generation, and this is actually progress, instead of processing that information as, oh, they want stuff at the caliber and quality and care as those movies or television series, and then making new and better stuff. It's like a weird misprocessing of, I think, their research.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Alex, what about you?
Well, I feel like what they're doing with all this stuff, all these movies and TV shows and things that they're bringing back, is that they're looking to replicate something that is safe. They see they are not ready to take risks on new ideas. Instead, they want to look at old ideas that were successful and replicate those in order to get more money out of it, more success out of it. And quite frankly, it's the lazy way of doing things. It's just it bothers me to no end. I mean, when I see stuff like this, because I know that they could do better. They've done decades of really good work, and then now we're in this age of let's rinse and repeat.
Yeah, I feel the same way 100%. Safe, I think you used the word safe. Someone said in chat safe as well. It's the safe thing to do.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, it just doesn't, I don't know. I guess I just expect more from Disney because of what they've done in the past with, things like The Little Mermaid and The Beauty and the Beast and, all their original cartoons that they've made. But, yeah, it just doesn't really make much sense to me. The picture I have on screen right now pretty much sums up my entire feelings on all of this, especially Moana's face. Moana's face is me.
I mean, yeah. I mean, look at Cinderella. Is that Cinderella in the back, like right corner?
Yeah, that is Cinderella.
That's just maddening. I can't stand it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's just terrible.
And there's more stills I can pull from all the trailers they've released. Snow White is eating an apple. It's like, aha, Snow White. She fell asleep because she ate the apple. but she's eating an apple here. But it just doesn't make any sense to me. And I mean, I'm sure this is something someone wanted to see, you know, all like the 10-year-old people who are big fans of these characters. I'm sure they've all dreamed of like, hey, it'd be really cool for all these characters to like be in a movie together and like fight crime or something like that. And this is like Disney's version of that. Like Cinderella's face is Cinderella's face is me.
You know, the problem is that they're there to make fun of each other and and because it's meta in the bad sense, themselves. And I just think that's such a total disservice to the audience and to their history. It's just so off-putting to me. We can talk in circles about this. We're just gonna just come to the same conclusion.
Yeah, and I'm trying to find other stills. Elsa's sweatshirt says, "Just let it go." Snow White is wearing... I might as well just open the image for you guys. So... Snow White is wearing, like, a shirt that has a poison apple on it. It's, like we said, meta. It's not... I don't know. Just scrolling through these images are it's very painful to watch, very painful to look at. But, yeah. So that's that. And there was another thing I wanted to show you guys before we got into all this, which I completely forgot. I don't remember if you guys last week, I don't know if you remember, us talking about the teaser for the new Jungle Cruise movie that Disney's making. Well, they have released another short little teaser. I'm just going to skip to the pan around of the set. I'm not going to play the audio, but... So apparently, Disney's been working on this movie for a while. That's what The Rock says in the trailer. And I just wanted to point out the set that they've created, or this one set in particular they've created for this movie. Looks really, really neat, at least to me. Apparently that's all created by them. You can see the skipper boats down below. But yeah, just felt like I should showcase that in case you guys hadn't seen it. Jeremy, what are your thoughts on the live-action Jungle Cruise movie?
I don't really know. I mean, it's so early to be able to be like, well, it's going to be bad. I don't know. It could be very good, you know, for all I know. I hope it is. My only thought right now would just be whether it's bad or good. If it had a great opening weekend in the box office, I don't that should not be an excuse to alter an attraction that stood its own for 60 plus years. That's my only fear about it. I think, but basically I think, you know, they need to stop drawing from their well. They need to make new original stuff, period. You know, that's my only thought. I hope it's good. It looks like it can be. So that's my only thought.
Yeah, that's basically what this whole discussion is about. Disney needs to come up with new stuff. Speaking of new stuff that Disney has come up with, they've released a new still for the new Mary Poppins movie. How many of you guys are excited for the new Mary Poppins movie? I am very excited. Mary Poppins, the original, is one of my all-time favorite Disney movies of all time. And I really hope... I think isn't Emily Blunt playing Mary Poppins, but she's also in the Jungle Cruise movie. So that's kind of interesting. She's in 2 Disney movies, almost releasing close to each other. But yeah, speaking of, like I said, speaking of new things that Disney has not come up with, drawing from the well, I really hope the new Mary Poppins movie is fine. I hope it's good. I'm pretty sure we've talked about this before, but yeah, Emily Blunt. I think Emily Blunt is playing. I can't remember now for some reason, but I don't really know if she can sing. Orange Grove on Twitter, one of my friends on Twitter, said that the music will make or break this movie, and I agree. I really hope Richard Sherman has some hand when it comes to the music, the writing, all that kind of stuff. Because that's really what Mary Poppins was. It was like a huge musical, I guess would be the right words. So if the new Mary Poppins movie, the music in it sucks, then the movie will probably not do very well. But Alex, I think we've talked about this before, but what are your thoughts on the new Mary Poppins movie?
I don't know that it's gonna work, only because it's hard to get someone to fall in love with a sequel to a movie that takes place, well, not takes place, but is filmed several decades after the original. You know, like how are you supposed to accept that Emily Blunt is Julie Andrews' character, or so on and so forth? So it's hard for me to think that it's gonna be good. You know, but again, that could just be me being pessimistic.
Jeremy, what about you?
Basically, I feel this is a similar way. I think it'll be like all the rest of the live action sort of sequels, reboots, whatever they are, in that they'll be good, but then we'll forget about it in a week.
Yeah, that's how I was with
and you're gonna
Robin.
want to go home and just watch Mary Poppins. I mean, I feel like that's what's gonna. I'm gonna leave the theater and go home and watch Mary Poppins and be like, there we go.
Yeah, that's so strange. Imagine if that's what they're going for. If they make a Mary Poppins sequel to make you want to go home and buy the 4K Blu-ray release or whatever, the original Mary Poppins. But anyways, I'm going to quote from Entertainment Weekly. Links, like I said, will be in the description down below. Let's see. What is directed by Rob Marshall. Quote, "There's never been a moment when I felt like I want to, in any other way, redo the original," explains Marshall, who directed, among other movie musicals, the Oscar-winning Chicago. "The thing that's so mortifying is when people say it's a remake. Never. No one could touch that. But we can continue the tradition of that storytelling with our own cast, with our own world, with our own sensibility. There's so much more story to tell, and it's because the character's so great." So he's flat out saying it's not going to be a reboot, not a remake. It's going to be a sequel. I don't really think there's a lot of information that's been released about the movie. I don't even know if Emily Blunt is playing the same version of Mary Poppins. She could be a completely different, I mean, you guys know what I mean, a completely different character. But I'm sure she's probably playing the same, oh gosh, that one actor, I believe they said he was in Hamilton.
Yeah, Lin-Manuel Miranda, yeah.
Yeah, Hamilton, I think. One of those musicals. I've never been much of a musical, like Broadway musical guy. But yeah,
well,
hopefully
I am very much a
really
Broadway musical person.
So do you know
yes.
do you know a lot about this actor who's playing whatever his name is? I can't remember his name.
Yeah. So he is basically transforming the American theater period right now. He's a huge figure, you know, whether he'll be good in the movie or not, I mean, he has an energy that I think suits Mary Poppins very well. I love his work, but I think that's just unrelated to this movie in general, you know. But he'll be fun.
Yeah, like I said, the music will make or break this movie. Hopefully the music, gosh, there's really no way to capture that same feeling that the original one did with the Sherman Brothers music and what is her name? This is embarrassing. I can't remember the name of the actress who played Mary Poppins. It's right on the tip of my tongue. What is
Julie Andrews?
Yes, thank you. For some reason I just couldn't think of it.
Wow.
Oh gosh. Julie Andrews, yeah. There's really no way to capture the same sort of energy she brought, and from what I understand, she's not going to be in this movie at all. I believe she said she wanted to let Emily Blunt, or whoever, I still don't even know if it's Emily Blunt. She wanted to let Emily Blunt shine and not sort of steal the spotlight, I guess. But yeah, moving on to, there's a couple more things I want to really talk about that interests me a lot. Take a look, everybody watching, take a look at these 4 logos. Gigantic air quotes in logo, or gigantic air quotes around logos. Take a look at these. Tell me what you notice. Tell me what makes them stand out from each other. Tell me just anything, you guys in the chat or watching later on at home. Tell me what you think of these. What differentiates them from one another? I'll start. For one, well, I guess as like a graphics design, creative media kind of guy, that's what I'm majoring in college. Take Cool says, holy crap, they all look the same. Yeah, that's basically what I'm getting at. All of these logos are for either previously released or soon to be released Disney movies. These are the official logos for these movies, for Mary Poppins Returns, Christopher Robin, Nutcracker in the Four Realms, and Beauty and the Beast. There's like a whole bunch of other examples that I could have brought up, but these were the only ones that I could fit snugly on screen. But yeah, the main thing I'm getting at is all of these logos look exactly the same, and this sort of ties back to what we were saying earlier about how Disney doesn't want to take chances anymore, how I don't want to use like the word creatively bankrupt, but that's, you look at these logos and they look exactly the same. I mean, Mary Poppins, of course, is in blue. That's like the only major difference between Mary Poppins and Christopher Robin. Sure, the text is like warped a little bit, bending. Beauty and the Beast is maybe like a different font, maybe. But stylistically, they all look the same. And like I said, if you guys look at there's even more examples of this. I think the Maleficent movie too, and maybe even of the more live action. Oh, what was A Wrinkle in Time too? That was one of the ones I didn't put up here as well.
Into the Woods too also has a very similar logo.
Yeah, and the Nutcracker in the Four Realms has like little designs on the letters. It sort of differentiates them, but it's really they're all the same basically, is what I'm trying to get at. And I want to know, you guys watching, what are your thoughts about this? Because like I said, as like a graphic design kind of person, this sort of strikes me bad, just because it's not that hard to make a good logo for a movie, especially a movie about, Winnie the Pooh, Christopher Robin, Mary Poppins, Beauty and the Beast, Nutcracker in the Four Realms. I completely forgot that was a movie up until the new trailer they released a couple days ago. It shouldn't be that hard for Disney, whoever is designing these logos, to try to make them look different. It's just very off-putting, in my opinion. At least to me. It might not be to you guys, but at least to me, it's very off-putting. Bryce said, you can copy my homework, just change it a little so we don't get caught. That is exactly what I was thinking of. That's exactly what I was thinking of. And same with, take a look at all these posters as well. Bryce, your quote applies exactly the same to all of Disney's posters that they've released within like the past 4 or like 3 years. Not saying that these are bad posters. It's a good design graphically, I guess. You fit all the characters on screen or on the poster. No one gets left out. But it's just they all look the same. Everything looks the same. And I think I talked about this a couple weeks ago, how it feels like a lot of the live action Disney movies feel the same as well. Like, let's see, take a movie like Beauty and the Beast and compare it to Christopher Robin. You wouldn't think that they'd have a lot in common, because Beauty and the Beast is not the same as Christopher Robin, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But like visually, a lot of the movies don't have a lot of color to them. Like this is gonna I guess get into some technical stuff about the movies. They don't have a lot of color to them. A lot of like dark gray muted colors. Someone pointed out how Christopher Robin was taking place in like old London, so it's like appropriate for for like the colors to be gray and like smoggy, smoggy, I guess would be the right words. But if you just take a look at like all those movies, they all look the same, they all feel the same, they all feel like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like there's a polish on it. Do you guys know what I mean? Like there's a polish on all the movies. No like originality, creativity in them at all. Like it's just cookie cutter. Cookie cutter is the word. It's just all cookie cutter.
That's a good way. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just cookie cutter. I think the goal of Iger's Disney is to make everything one. Is to make Disney a clear brand, where everything is uniform, everything looks the same, you can expect the same thing, and their sense of originality is just how many movie properties and studios they can acquire, so they can just kind of filter different intellectual property through kind of the Disney brand processor and create this very uniform vision of the entertainment industry, which is, I would assume that's their end goal.
Yeah.
I think that's very sad.
Yeah, me too. And yeah, I mean, like, not even that these aren't even bad posters necessarily. They're not bad posters. They look cool. I like the Ant-Man and the Wasp one. The Avengers one, the Nutcracker one looks cool. Thor, it's just all, yeah. I've said, I think, enough about all this, but I just want to know, you guys watching either live or if you're watching later at home, I want to know what you guys think of these logos, all the same, the posters all the same. There are some really creative posters that I've seen for movies. I think like upcoming movies. There was one that I saw, I can't remember the movie exactly, but it was like almost like a watercolor painting of like this really beautiful image, and it was a poster for the movie, not like this Photoshop threw up all over everything. But yeah, Alex has been awfully quiet. Alex, what are your thoughts on everything we've just talked about?
Well, I'm not much of a graphic designer. I don't really know what works well when it comes to how to create an image or how to create a logo or even a poster. So I'm not really good at that. But what I can say is that I've seen better, and like you guys have said, it all looks the same. It's shocking to see all of them at once like that, and I wonder why. But I can't help but wonder if like the logos and the posters are all made by the same person.
Yeah.
You know, and they just don't have any kind of creative talent.
I mean, you'd think that Disney would find someone with creative talent to make logos for these big franchise blockbuster movies, and it's the same with the posters. But yeah, like I said, these it's not even that the posters are bad, it's just copy same template over and over again. And I want to talk very briefly about the Nutcracker and the Four Realms, because this movie, I don't think I'm gonna see it, and I don't think it'll be very good. I didn't see A Wrinkle in Time, and I from what I understand, I don't think that movie was very good either. I don't think anyone has an emotional attachment to the Nutcracker. Like, you guys know what I mean? Like, the Nutcracker, sure, it's like a ballet. My sister, I think she performed in the Nutcracker a while back, but it's not like anybody has like an emotional attachment other than like people who are into dance, all that kind of stuff. And sure, they might put a twist on it. I'm pretty sure that's like what that I don't know what I'm trying to say. But do you guys remember the movie Oz, the Great and Powerful with James Franco? Disney is wanting us to forget about that movie. They want us to forget that they made that movie. So I'm going to remind you guys every week that Disney made Oz the Great and Powerful, because just because Disney wants us to forget. We will never forget. Hashtag never forget Oz. Someone start that in the chat, please. But yeah, that's another remaking, like one of you guys was saying this earlier, but like remaking a movie 50 years. How long ago was the original Wizard of Oz movie? I feel like that was more than 50 years. Maybe. Probably not. I don't know what I'm thinking of. But, yeah, like
1939.
1939, so that's some amount of numbers. I don't know the correct amount of years in between, but someone in chat will probably say it. But remaking movies like 50, 40, 30 years after the original one was released, or even making sequels, it doesn't make any sense to me. It's just, Jake says 81 years. I don't know if that's true. 81 years. Well, I guess from then to now, but Oz was released a couple years ago. But 81 years? Has it been that long since that movie came out? Holy cow. But yeah, I guess that's really all I have to say about this topics, this kind of stuff. Do you guys have any last minute things you'd like to say before we move on to our second smaller topic?
Not me.
No, I mean, no. We've said it all. It's all gonna be the same thing repeated. Let's move on.
Perfect. So I guess this is included in the same topic, but I don't know if you guys follow the Academy Awards, but they have announced a new popular film category for the Academy Awards. I don't know what your guys' thoughts on this are, but I feel like since we're talking about Disney blockbuster movies, Disney, Marvel, all that kind of stuff, I feel like we should throw this in just to talk about it, to let everybody know. So yeah, like I said, the Academy Awards have introduced a new popular film category. I'm going to quote from this article, bbc.com, like I said, links in the description as always. Star Rob Lowe has said this, quote, "The film business passed away today. It's been in poor health for a number of years. It's survived by sequels, tentpoles, and vertical integration." Now, I don't know if you guys know who Rob Lowe is, but he's a pretty big actor, from my understanding. The only thing I've seen him in is Parks and Rec. But yeah, from what I understand, he's a pretty big actor. And him saying that the film business has passed away when they announced that the new popular film category was announced, it's kind of, I guess it kind of almost puts things into perspective. You know, we complain, people like us complain every day about stuff like this, but when you see an actual big actor complaining about stuff like this, it's, like I said, it kind of almost puts things into perspective. And it's almost like this category was created just for Black Panther. I feel like that's really what this movie, or what's going to win popular film, because I think Black Panther passed $700 million domestically last week. I think it was only one of like 3 movies ever to do that, and I'm trying to think. I think it passed 2 billion or 1 billion, 2 billion or 1 billion a couple months ago. And Andy Richter also says, "Finally, the Oscars will be giving a salute based on popularity, so that those poor mountains of box office money won't be lonely anymore." I love Andy Richter. He's one of my favorites. I think he's on Conan, but it's almost, why even make a popular film category? Just let the box office numbers do that, because, well, like I was just talking about how Black Panther passed $700 million, I believe. Just let the numbers speak for themselves, or even just let those movies compete for Best Picture. It doesn't really make sense. I'm not saying that like Black Panther should win Best Picture, or like any of the Marvel movies, Star Wars, any of that. Black Panther was a good movie. It's not the greatest Marvel movie. If anything, Infinity War should win popular film. But Jeremy, what are your thoughts on the new popular film category created by the Oscars?
Yeah, it's pretty stupid. And basically, my impression of it, and it's all just speculative, but what it feels like to me is just these giant movie studios like Disney now, that just want more control of the industry and even more power, and by putting in this award, because they're not winning Oscars. The small movie studios who are creating the very, very great pieces of film that are winning Best Picture are winning those big awards, and they want to win those awards. So they're putting in this category for that. And my fear is that they're going to sell it to people, and we're all going to buy it. We're all going to buy this argument. They're going to sell it as the people's voices need to be heard. The underdog films that are actually popular need to be recognized. And really, it's Disney and all the huge movie studios are not fighting for recognition, certainly. So they're going to sell it in this weird way to us that it worries me, because they're seeking to basically destroy all the independent studios that are churning out the actual masterpieces.
Yeah, because some of the best picture movies who have won Best Picture are really amazing movies, not necessarily big blockbusters like you said, like Black Panther or like Infinity War. It's the little, like you said, it's the little studios like Moonlight. I don't watch a lot of movies, guys. I've heard Moonlight's good. I've seen La La Land though, which almost won. I love La La Land. Movies like those really are the kinds of movies that deserve Best Picture, in my opinion. I mean, of course, like the nerd in me will think that like Infinity War deserves like some sort of recognition because of how big of an achievement the movie was. That's might be why they created this specifically for Infinity War. But Alex, what about you?
You know what this reminds me of is like when I would go to a party or something and they're having this like, okay, for instance, I went to this cast member Halloween party, and it was everyone was dressed up, and the whole thing was everybody was gonna go up on stage, and people were gonna vote for best costume. And I made my costume by hand. Okay, I hand stitched everything. I put a lot of effort into it, and I dressed as the pirate auctioneer from Pirates of the Caribbean. And when I went up on stage, I didn't get a single vote. The person that got the most votes was wearing one of those crayon costumes.
Wait.
Where he was dressed as a crayon. And the only reason why he got that vote was because he was the most popular guy at our work location. Everyone knew him, everyone loved him, and so everyone voted for him. It had nothing to do with how good the person's costume was. So that's how I feel about this new category, is that, oh, let's just recognize the most popular people in the field and give them awards just because they're so popular. You know, that just makes me mad. It's not really awarding someone for doing a good job. It's awarding them for being so popular.
Yeah, that you really worded that really. Yeah, that's sort of.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, thank you, Alex. I was gonna say more of like a participation kind of trophy that you get at like a soccer game when you're like 3, but Alex's metaphor fits way better than mine. But okay,
well, this is worse than that. I mean, this is people who are already powerful, who aren't struggling to be heard, trying to come off as they are the ones who aren't getting recognition. It's that's maddening to me.
Yeah, I agree. And in case you guys care, I'm looking at a tweet from the Academy Awards. They moved an earlier air date for 2020. Mark your calendars for February 9th. So if you guys are interested, mark your calendars for February 9th. I don't know what that tweet is supposed to mean. We've set an earlier air date for 2020. Mark your calendars. I guess they moved up the air date of the Oscars to February 9th. So in case you guys are interested, in 2 years, the Oscars will be on February 9th. Yeah, I think there's also going to be a 3-hour telecast. 3 hours? That is like a long, I can't even sit still for 3 hours. Anyways, moving on to our second topic. We're going to sort of go over what our thoughts are on the future of the Disney parks. We sort of did this a couple weeks ago with Chris from LMG Vids, but let's go ahead and start with Alex, and then I'll go last. So, Alex.
Yay!
What are your thoughts? Let's see. How do I word this? How do you see... What do you... Oh, gosh, okay. How do you feel...
What do you see?
What do you see? What are your thoughts on how the future of Disneyland is looking when it comes to things like Pixar Pier, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, Marvel Land coming to DCA, and the new hotel that's been announced for Disneyland?
I feel like the parks and resorts division of the company, you're going to see a lot more random stuff going on. Like a lot of random projects in parks, lands that don't fit next to each other, a lot of strange things just pushed into the parks simply because they're popular things that people want to see. So whereas in the past, Disney tried to make sense of the transition between lands, you know, Frontierland suddenly transitioning to Adventureland, and Adventureland and Frontierland transitioning to New Orleans Square. Well, now it's not going to make sense anymore. Now there's going to be a lot of random stuff put everywhere. You know, I wouldn't be surprised, you know, if you saw like some kind of Toy Story ride coming into Frontierland, or you know, or you know, some kind of, I don't know, just you're gonna see stuff put into the parks just because they think it's popular, and it's not gonna have anything to do with the overall like continuity of the park. So this is most evident in parks like Disney's Hollywood Studios Park and also Disney California Adventure Park. So these two parks are like the epitome of what the future of Disney parks are going to be. Just random stuff thrown into a park just because they think the individual aspects of it are going to be popular. And so it's not going to make sense for a while. I mean, you know, say goodbye to the era where they open a Disney park that has an overall theme. Now it's going to be, we're opening a Disney park that is themed to everything. You know, just because we need to fit everything in it. So, so the future is bleak when it comes to that. However, you know, for some of you guys, it might be a positive thing because you'll get to see more and more of your favorite movies and TV shows in the parks. They want to create a bridge between Disney Entertainment and parks and resorts. And they want people to experience more of what they see on the screen in the real life. So, in conclusion, this is what you're bound to see. And to me, this is a bad thing. To me, things need to make sense. Things need to have their place and their time. But I think it's actually quite reflective of today's modern society, like what we expect out of entertainment. You know, we expect, you know, the big explosions, the fast action, the, you know, the short movie times and the quick endings, you know, and so it's like, it's the fast food version of entertainment. And that's what people want nowadays, unfortunately. you know. So you can say goodbye to, you know, good entertainment, like, you know, the movie The Shining, for instance. You can say goodbye to movies like that, because new movies that are really good and really exciting and have a lot of colors and a lot of explosions and a lot of things that catch your attention, you're gonna see them making their way into the parks. So say goodbye.
Interesting. Jeremy, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, that was so well put. It's so hard to predict the future of anything, just because you never know what happens. But basically, just going off of what Alex was saying, I think their goal, their end goal, if there is an end goal, and I think it is totally in line with what Iger's goals for the company are when he even came in, is to rewire the park slowly, gradually, to become a place where that unified brand physically exists, in terms of promotion and staying pop culturally relevant. I think the parks are being transformed to become less of its own entertainment medium, an artistic medium, and more of almost like a personification of a brand. That's my impression from that. That's my only justification I can give for them for that. That is aligned with what Iger has stated he wants to do with the company to begin with. So yeah, I think slowly but surely all of the parks will basically be the same park. Nothing will have its own, as Alex was saying, cohesive theme. I'm more concerned about the parks that we're reaching really new artistic heights in terms of education. I mean, Epcot, to me, I'm very losing something like that, which is a monument to human achievement and to education and to learning, is that is of the utmost cultural significance to me. And to have the company that made it be like, well, you know, not anymore, that doesn't align with what we want to do with the company. It's such a loss to our culture as a whole. And if I were to supply any hope, because I read a comment that said this got very cynical very fast, in Disney is not cynical. I've started to find the things that's the inspiration that Disney gave me elsewhere almost. And I know that might sound cynical, but I'm starting to look for my Disneylands in other places. Going to, I'm in Los Angeles now, but I normally live in New York. When I go to the Natural History Museum, I get the same feeling that I get when I go to Disneyland, the sense of learning with a sense of inspiration, of experiencing something of the world, in an immersive, almost fantastical environment. I go there and I think, okay, that supplies me with the same fuel that Disney once gave me. So I'm starting to find elsewhere in the world the places that are, I think, continuing on what Walt was doing and what his artists were doing. On another positive note, I also refuse to believe that there aren't Imagineers. Maybe their voices are being shut down, but I refuse to believe that there aren't Imagineers going, I want to make the next Epcot Center. I want to make the next Pirates of the Caribbean. So I think there is still hope. And it'll require a leader to make those voices heard. And it'll also require a leader to be just totally in touch with people's tastes. I think this company isn't right now, and that's why they just are doing all of this. So that's my 2 cents anyway.
Interesting. I feel like all of this, you see things like Pixar Pier, or we say Pixar Pier a lot, but you see things like Pixar Pier, Star Wars Land, Marvel Land, all the new IP-centric stuff that's coming to the parks. I feel like that's all not necessarily a bad thing. It varies from project to project, of course. I've said this before. I feel like as long as the outcome is good, I'll be fine with like IP-centric lands or IP-centric attractions. Like Star Wars Land, I feel like that is really going to be, it's going to be a really great land when it opens, and a lot of people are very cynical about how it's just a whole land based off of one IP, which I agree with, but I also think that it's going to be good, although I do wish it wasn't in Disneyland. I wish it was in like a third gate, and I think one of you mentioned how all the parks are going to turn into like the same thing, and I really do see that. It's kind of weird because when you look at parks like Hollywood Studios and California Adventure, it's almost like there's almost really no difference between the two. Of course, Pixar Pier is one of the obvious outliers, but I guess it's just they both have like backlot themes, which is sort of, the backlot theme is sort of dying, but yeah, it's very, very interesting. But I don't know. I do see a bright future if you're a Disney fan, if you're like a hardcore classic Disney fan, if you hate IPs, if you love original ideas. I do, hopefully, maybe once Bob Iger is gone, I don't really know, it's very hard to say, but I do see a bright future. Whether your bright future is Pixar Pier and Marvel Land, or whether your bright future is original attractions, non-IP based lands and attractions, but yeah, that's what I have to say. Let's see. Any closing thoughts you guys have to say on the subject?
No.
I mean, I have a million thoughts on this subject, all of which probably were not articulated here, but I mean, we could talk for hours about this, and the last thing I want is for this to end on a sour note. Mm-hmm. So no, I don't have anything more to say in this moment.
Well, let's see. We do still have 2 other segments that we have to get to. So you can if you want, you can talk about, if you can say more about what's on your mind. I'm sure people would love to hear what you have to say.
No, just because it would become a rant, and
okay.
It just, no one wants to listen to one person's voice for more than 30 seconds. So I'll refrain. But it is a great conversation, and I hope that this just incites more conversation from the Disney community, because our voices do matter, and our tastes do matter, and our feelings about the company do matter. So I just ask all to really think and feel deeply about why you love Disney, and express it in any way you can. Mm-hmm. That's what I'll say.
Yes, I agree 100%. Jill Snyder says in chat, even if you guys aren't happy with the way things are going, it inspires you all to come together and be inspired and create this channel. Yes, Jill, that is a very good way to put it.
Yes.
yeah, if you guys, I say this every week, if you guys would like to continue the discussion, you can comment down below, or you can hop over to our Discord channel. Link is always in the description. Very, I guess friendly would be the word. We're a friendly bunch over on the Discord server. So don't be intimidated with all
Our
of
fame.
Yeah. I guess that'd be one way. I guess that'd be one way to put it. But yeah, just if you guys would ever just like an outlet to talk Disney with people who think the same as you, have the same mindset as you, definitely join the Discord server. We've had a lot of fun, made a whole bunch of new friends, met a whole bunch of amazing people from the Discord server. So yeah, link is in the description as always for that. And it is time, everybody. It is time for spooky stories time. I hope you guys are ready, because Bryce happened to send me another spooky story the other day. And Alex and Jeremy, if you guys have any scary stories you guys would like to tell, now would be the time to think them up. I'm going to go ahead and read Bryce's scary stories. And a note to all the viewers out there, if you have any scary stories you'd like to be read on stream, you can either email them to me, ytmatterhornmatt@gmail.com. You can email me your spooky stories. You can send them on the Discord server. You can send them to me on Twitter, whichever social media platform you prefer. I just prefer email because they're all collected in one spot. But yeah, that's just that. And let's go ahead and get to Bryce's story. Let's see. He said he included pronunciations this time because last time I completely butchered all the Hawaiian words that he put in. So let's see. Okay, this is from Bryce McKenzie, who is in chat today. Thank you, Bryce, for sending in this story. This happened to me when I was 11. For school, we had to do a project on right off the bat. For school, we had to do a project on whaling and the impact it had on Hawaii. So I went to the Bishop Museum. The museum is a known haunt spot, so please be very respectful. But I ignored the warnings and took lots of photos. In most, there were ghost orbs, little blue or white orbs with an aura around it. In a few, there were faded shapes of people with no features, and in one, there was a girl. I went to take a picture in the front of the motel, in front of the model, Hale, to fill my camera space. Yes, this was back when cameras still used film. I asked my dad to take it when no one was around us, so he did. But as he did, I felt a chill. But that was not unusual. It was not until later when I developed the film, I saw what happened. A ghost of a girl was standing beside me, posing for the photograph. That's why I say not to take too many photos in the museum and be very respectful. There are people who stay there forever. Thank you, Bryce. Again, always sending chills. All your guys' spooky stories always manage to creep me out. He said he put pronunciations in the story, but the only thing he put a pronunciation for was how to pronounce Hawaii, and not the very confusing word right before that.
Well, what does that say about you?
I should probably brush up on my pronunciations then. But thank you, Bryce, for your amazing story. And Jeremy, do you have any scary stories or paranormal happenings that you'd like to share with us?
No, I don't. And I told myself to think of something or write something, but I just didn't do it. So I have nothing scary. Well, you know what's scary? Disney today. That's scary.
Yes.
That's my scary story.
That is the scariest story of all.
Actually, just the world today in general. That's the scary thought I'll leave you with.
Thank you, Jeremy, for that very bone-chilling story. Alex, what about you?
I don't really have a story. Yeah, not really a story, but some weird stuff has been happening around my house lately.
Okay, that would work perfectly fine.
Yeah. As a lot of people know, my house, I'm pretty sure, is haunted. I've lived here since 2008, so 10 years. And and it's always been haunted. It's not necessarily always creepy, but weird things always happen. So recently, my roommate was locked out of the house. He could not turn the lock because as he turned the lock, something would push back and relock the door. And there was nobody home when this happened. So when I came home, he told me about it. He was like, "That's really weird." And I said, "Oh yeah, that used to happen to me all the time. Like, it's just you try to unlock the door and something locks it again." So also, the other day when I was going to get my puppy, I was sitting at the computer waiting to get picked up by my dad, and I heard the kitchen cabinet door open. And I waited for a second, and then I got up and I went over to the cabinet door to look at it, and this pack of bagels just flew out. And, and it scared me, and it was really weird, but it was like, oh my gosh, so it was really random, but weird stuff like that happens. And then
the ghost was Jewish, I guess. So.
Oh yeah, I know. Shalom. But and then today something weird happened. So I have this Bluetooth speaker in my kitchen, so that way when I wash dishes, I listen to 80s music. And don't make fun of me. And so I had it switched to off, and as I was like in the living room, I heard this click in the kitchen, and then the speaker said power on. And I was like, what? I walked over to the kitchen and something had switched the speaker on. It was really creepy. But then what was even weirder was I turned it off, and then after I left the kitchen, a good few seconds after I left the kitchen, it finally said power off. So it was really strange. But I mean, and then the other day, I was sitting down at the computer, and it was so hot I had the air conditioning running, and the air conditioning suddenly turned off. And so I went to go look to see what happened. I didn't know if I blew a circuit or something. But no, the power strip that it was plugged into was switched off. So it just randomly happened. While the air conditioning was on, the power switch just switched off. Like something switched it off, and there was no more AC. So weird stuff like that happens all the time at this house. Like just weird things, or the blinds by the windows will kind of sway and move even if the window is shut. So so weird stuff happens all the time. It's not always that creepy, but when I was a teenager and I was living here, there were some creepy moments, like seeing shadow figures and things like that. Or my roommate who moved into my old room that I had in high school, he said that quite often he would see like a black hooded figure in his closet. Ooh. Yeah, so, and I've seen shadow figures once in a while, but not in the past year. So, like I said, it's not always creepy stuff. Sometimes it's just weird, unexplainable stuff, like things being switched on or switched off, or like you'll turn on the ceiling light, and then you walk away, and the next thing you know, something switches the light off. And or like you lock the door when you go up to bed, like the front door, you lock it when you go up to bed, but then as soon as you get to the top of the stairs, you look back and it's unlocked. So yeah, weird stuff like that happens all the time.
I think you mentioned to me that we should do a Ouija board in your house. I feel like that'd be a really awesome segment to have on the Matterhorn Mondays podcast.
Yeah, totally.
Next time I'm in town, I'll bring a Ouija board and we can film and see what happens.
Actually, I already have one.
You already? What? Have you ever used it in your house before?
Only once. It was because I used one when I was a teenager and I had a really freaky experience with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I told my roommate about that, and he doesn't believe in spirits or ghosts or anything. Even though he's seen a lot of weird stuff happen around the house, he still refuses to admit that he believes in it.
Mm.
And so one day he was just like, well, I'll just buy a Ouija board and see what we do with it. So he bought one and we decided to use it. And we did end up communing with a spirit, I think, which kind of freaked us all out because like we asked it questions like, like what do you see? And it just simply said red. It spelled out the color red, R-E-D.
Mm.
Or like we said like who are you? And there'd be no answer, but then we'd say like, what are you here for? And then the thing would spell out like woman. So it was like really weird. It was unexplainable. I don't really know what that means, but but yeah, I have a feeling though that the spirit doesn't speak English.
Oh.
That's that I know that sounds like weird, like what are you talking about? But I actually live next to an area that was once occupied by Native American.
Oh. Okay.
The city I live in, I live very close to where their tribe was living. And they were actually shooed out of the area, but I think the Spanish. So, and their burial grounds used to be in the hills nearby. So I think that I have this feeling that the spirit that's in my house is actually Native American and doesn't speak English.
Mm. Interesting. Well, I was going to say, if it speaks Spanish, I might be able to help a bit. But, oh well.
It might be Spanish too. I mean, I live, pretty close to Santa Ana, and there's a lot of Hispanic people there, so, might speak Spanish. I never tried because I don't speak Spanish, but it was only a wild guess because I live so close to where the tribe lived, because the grounds are like not even half a mile away, so yeah.
Interesting. Spooky. Avery actually sent another spooky story, so it's kind of a lengthy one, but I'm going to go ahead and read it for you guys just because I can tell it's a good one. I hope. I skimmed the first sentence, but we'll see. This one is by Avery, who happens to be in chat right now. And yeah, it's kind of not too long, but yeah, hopefully it'll be worth it. Okay. This is a story I do not often tell. I promise sincerely that this has scarred me for life, scarred me for life. And although I have looked into psychological explanations for what I heard and natural explanations for what occurred, they remain unsatisfactory. When I was a child, I was scared of the dark. I swore to my mother I heard voices in it. They were not evil, but they were not familiar, so they scared me. It was not uncommon in the middle of the night for me to wake up and hear whispers, as I would call them when asking my mom. She figured they were just bumps in the night and typical kid nightmare material. I tried to often explain to her that it was more than that they sounded different from one another as people's voices do. On some nights I would get so scared from these whispers that I would sleep in my mom's bed with her. It was an added bonus that the bathroom was directly outside of her bedroom door for my late night tinkles. Okay, I should add at this point that when walking out into the hall to go to the bathroom, you look directly down the stairs that would lead you to my living room on the first floor, as my mom's bedroom was on the second floor. On one such night, around Christmas, I awoke and felt the need to relieve myself. I walked out from the door and distinctly heard the phrase, "Look." And to my astonishment, a red light, almost like a spotlight, was cast upon the wall at the very bottom of the stairs. The light had no other source, it was by itself, and I was transfixed by it. Being a little kid, and it only being a few days from Christmas, I knew what this light was. It was Santa. How else could he get into my house without knowing I was being a good boy? I was so excited, I began walking down the stairs to greet him, picking up my pace after the second step as it began to creep off the wall and fade into the darkness of my living room. That's when I heard him. A very strong, masculine voice, different from the first. No. Oh, I accidentally refreshed the page. No. Oh, it was getting so good. Okay. Very distinct, masculine voice. Different from the first. Not at all like my father's. Not to say he isn't masculine. It was just distinctly different. It said, "Stop, right now. Go back up those stairs." I listened, turned around, and what happened next, I am not sure I would believe if someone had told me the same story. After reaching the top of the stairs, I heard a very loud crash that sent me running back to my mother's bed, where I jumped straight under the covers and stayed there the whole night. When we awoke in the morning, the poinsettia lights, little Christmas flower lights that glowed red, my mother had put on the railing down the stairs were pushed straight down to the bottom of the stairs, some broken from what seemed like a forceful tear, laying in a single pile. The dry sink in my living room had fallen from the wall. My mother could not explain it. My father was worried we would have been victims of a home invasion. My sister was crying. There was nobody missing. Nobody had broken in. There did not seem to be any reason that this happened. And then I saw it, and it kept quiet because, I kept quiet about it because I was so afraid I could not force words out of my mouth. There, on the edge of the wooden dry sink, which had been facing up, were 3 indentations where the finish of the wood had been worn, almost as if in a forceful grip. Something down there had grabbed it and thrown it down. That was what the bang was. I was mortified. After that day, I never heard a single voice again. I do not like to imagine what was waiting downstairs for me that night, if it was anything at all, but I can tell you that the reality was that something had physically acted upon 2 things in the house near the bottom of that stairwell. After this, I never heard a single whisper again, which is sad because in some ways I would have liked to thank the man, masculine energy, that stopped me from going down those stairs. This happened when I was 7, 10 years ago. I'm 17 now, and still kind of scared of the dark. Avery, that was amazing! Thank you for that. Holy cow. Okay. Okay. That was a good one. Thank you, Avery. Gosh, wonderful. I'm actually very spooked right now. Okay. Now it's time to turn the lights back on. Okay. Yes. Thank you, Avery. That was a really good story. I don't think I've heard anything like it. Late night tinkles. Everybody's saying late night tinkles in the chat.
Late night tinkles causes a chill up my spine. That was truly horror.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, thank you, Avery, for that amazing story. Hashtag late night tinkles. Hashtag late night tinkles. Yes. Now it is time to move on to our favorite segment of the show, Words with Walt. Today was my turn to pick out a quote, and the quote that I have chosen today is, "We keep moving forward, opening new doors, and doing new things because we're curious, and curiosity keeps leading us down new paths."
Bravo.
This sort of almost ties in perfectly to what we were talking about earlier in the episode about Disney's movies, how they're drawing from the same well as Jeremy or Alex, I can't remember, as one of them put it. But let's start with Jeremy, our guest. What are your thoughts on this quote by Mr. Walt Disney?
I want to write it down in beautiful calligraphy, put it in an envelope with a stamp, and send it to Bob Iger himself. They're so out of touch with who they are, and I think they know that. I think they know that that there's something different, and they're just trying to like mitigate the people who are going, "You're not Disney anymore," by saying, "No, we actually are more Disney than ever before." This just reading quotes like that, you just realize, oh, maybe Disney doesn't exist anymore. It's a beautiful quote, though, and anyone who's in the arts should really look to that quote. It's wonderful.
I agree. Alex, what about you?
Definitely a really great quote, because it's great to see, Walt's creative side, how he says that, things that they do in the company is all because they want to see how it'll develop, how it'll change as they add new ideas and, and like he said, go down new paths. His company has always done brand new things and always brought new technologies, new techniques, for the sake of the experience. And so that's one of the things that I agree that the company has kind of lost touch with. So yeah, I mean, I wish that Walt Disney had lived at least another 10 years just to see what the projects that he had in mind would have turned out looking like. So yeah,
I definitely agree. This is a great quote, like both of you said. I will be the one to volunteer to write this down in calligraphy and mail it to Mr. Boglager. I volunteer as tribute. I will do it. I'll film it.
Please do it. We should get signatures like the Declaration of Independence. Say, this will not stand. We've caught you.
Yeah, and at the very bottom, I'll sign in really big letters, Alex the historian.
I will mail it to every single one of you viewers out there. We will get all of our signatures. All 8,000 of you, we will get all of our signatures. And I will mail it personally to Mr. Bob Iger. And hopefully we can make Disney great again. But yes, this is a very great quote. It really does apply very almost perfectly to what we were talking about earlier in the podcast with like I said, with Disney's new movies being nothing but rehash, nothing but weird meta jokes. Same with Disneyland, Disney's parks, all that kind of stuff. We keep moving forward, opening new doors and doing new things. What is something new that Disney's done within the past 10 years? This in the same vein that Walt created audio animatronics. Walt created the first feature-length cartoon film. I guess I'm trying to think of like what modern Disney's equivalent would be to that. Maybe. Well, oh, go ahead.
I guess
I was going to say something random.
I guess they did launch that animatronic that does stunts.
Oh yeah, I guess that
is true. I am excited to see that. But I don't consider that the same caliber as the first feature-length animated film, or the first recreational park that tells a story, or the first speaking, moving audio animatronic figure. It's just not the same thing.
Yeah. Oh. But I don't really think there's an equivalent to those kinds of achievements nowadays, which is kind of sad, because that's really what Walt was all about.
You know what I think, though, is that the company changed when Eisner stepped in.
Yes.
It was no longer Walt's company. I mean, and Eisner, in the beginning, he did great things for the company. He brought it back from the dead, and he, expanded the company and did great things with it. It's just that he changed it from Walt's company to the Walt Disney Corporation, so it's just, it's no longer Walt's, toy thing.
I can tell, Jeremy,
that's
you have
pretty much
a lot.
Market.
A lot that you want to say.
Yeah, I felt like Jeremy wanted to say something.
Oh, there's a lot yeah, no, it's fine. I don't want to make this go to 2 hours, but
well, anyways, yeah, great quote. I'm glad we all agree that this is a good quote. I'm glad we all agree that this quote should be mailed to Mr. Bob Iger. But before we leave today, I keep forgetting to show this to you guys. I don't know if any of you remember, but I think I'm the only person in existence to own a DVD copy of Cinderella 3: A Twist in Time. And in my
I have it. I looked through my collection and I have a copy.
Really?
I have a copy.
Oh, goodness.
I was surprised. I couldn't believe it.
Well, I'm one of only 2 people in the world to own a copy of Cinderella 3: A Twist in Time on DVD. And during my recent trip to Disneyland, I did get Cinderella herself to sign my copy of Cinderella 3: A Twist in Time. And I keep forgetting to show it, but I just wanted to show you guys. This is proof that I actually own the DVD. And here is her signature. She was very confused as to why I had it. So was the character attendant. But she did say that it was one of her favorite adventures that she'd been on. So that sort of makes me want to watch it again. We'll see if it lives up to that. But I will be placing this on eBay. Starting bid will be $10,000. Link will be in the description down below. But
are you serious?
I could be serious, but anyways, this has been an amazing podcast. Thank you all. Thank you, Jeremy and Alex, for being here today. It was really amazing getting to talk everything that we did.
Do you want to know something that I have that's really cool and rare?
Yes.
I have the farewell recorded performance of what's it called? Main Street Electrical Parade, when it ended its last run at Disneyland in 1996. I have that on Blu-ray.
On Blu-ray? Holy cow!
Yes.
What?
Yeah. Well, okay. It was not made by the company. I own a VHS of it. And my friend converted the VHS to a Blu-ray with a menu.
Oh, what? That's cool.
Oh.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure I'm the only person to have it on Blu-ray. I mean, if anybody owns the farewell performance at all, they have it on VHS.
Interesting. Well, thank you, Alex.
You win.
Yeah, that definitely beats out Cinderella, a signed copy of Cinderella 3: A Twist in Time. But yeah, so thank you, Alex. Like I said, thank you, Jeremy, as well, for being here today. Any closing remarks you would like to say to the people?
Yes, I have Walt's frozen body, just if we're topping ourselves. No major closing thoughts. Just that quote is so inspirational. People, like, use that in your life. If you're an artist, always make new things and challenge yourself. That's how we'll forge and foster the next Walt Disney. So
yes,
yeah,
100% agreed. And big thanks to everybody who tuned in live. As many of you watching at home may not know, all these podcasts are streamed live on YouTube. You can check out my second channel where we do all the live streams down in the description down below. Definitely give that a subscribe if you want to watch these live, if you want to participate in the conversation. But yeah, thank you to everyone who is watching at home. We want to know what your thoughts are on all the topics we discussed. We talked about a lot of stuff, whether it be modern Disney movies, modern Disney in general, modern Disneyland, all of that kind of stuff. We want to know all of your thoughts. Be sure to comment them down below. And again, if you have any spooky stories you'd like to send in, you can email them to me, ytmatterhornmatt@gmail.com. And once again, next Saturday, on the 18th at 11 o'clock a.m., not p.m., 11 a.m., MST, we will be doing another round of Disney Jeopardy with Jack from DSMI Newscast, Chris from LMG Vids, and Rob from Rob Plays. And Alex and I will be hosting the Jeopardy, so be sure to check that out. We're looking forward to it, and we look forward to seeing all of you next time on Matterhorn Mondays. Yeah, that's all we really have for you guys. As always, have a great, big, beautiful tomorrow.